We are here at week 5 and we're previewing a top 20 showdown in the Big Ten. It is Illinois at Penn State Saturday night. And here to help us break down one of the biggest games of the weekend is Jeremy Werner from the Illini Inquirer and Tyler Donahue from Lions 24/7. Before we get into the breakdown, let's tell you a little bit more about this matchup. How about last year's matchup? Illinois may be known for their defense, but last year it was Penn State showing off on that side of the ball, creating 5 turnovers in the victory. Luke Altmyer threw a career-high 4 interceptions, but since then, across 10 starts, he has thrown just 3. So let's start with the quarterback. And Tyler, I want you to follow with how Penn State looks to contain him. But first, Jeremy, he has 10 touchdowns, no interceptions, and a ranked road win under his belt already. So what's different about him this year?
Yeah, well, Emily, you stole my thunder there. Since that game against Penn State last year, he's thrown 20 touchdowns to 3 interceptions. Ooh. So he's certainly gotten a lot better. That was a welcome to the Big Ten moment for him. And we got to remember, he was a first-year starter for Illinois, and he went through growing pains last year, but he got better taking care of the ball. But this year, he's taken his game to another level. He's more confident. He's in more command of the offense. He's in the second year of his offense coordinator, Barry Lunny Jr. It's the first time in his career, of his 4-year career, that he's had the same offensive coordinator. So Illinois also did a really good job in the offseason of surrounding him with talent. Pat Bryant has taken a step into stardom. He's got 6 touchdowns through 4 games, and he catches everything thrown his way. But adding Zachary Franklin, the NCAA's active receiving yards leader at wide receiver, has been big. And then they've gotten 2 transfer portal tackles in J.C. Davis and Melvin Priestley that protected him very well. So he's made a national name for himself, and he'll have a chance against Penn State, obviously, his biggest test yet, and kind of a revenge game for Luke Altmyer to show how much he has improved and that he should be a national name at quarterback that people should know.
Yeah, Altmyer's 4 interception performance came up through some conversations with Penn State defenders this week. They were very quick to brush it off. They said it's a new year. He's a new quarterback. They're a new defense. And in terms of containing him and disrupting him in this matchup, I'm going to look at 2 new starting defensive ends, Abdul and Denai Dennis Sutton. Carter last year was a first-team all Big Ten conference performer. Denai Dennis Sutton's a junior, played a lot last year. He's a former 5-star prospect. And both of these guys have shown flashes through 3 games, but in non-conference work, you saw a really quick pass game from opponents, very clearly trying to neutralize the pass rush however way they can. I think Illinois, the way they want to attack Penn State here, is going to rest on the shoulders of Altmyer. And so I think it's going to rest on the shoulders of the Penn State defensive front to make him feel uncomfortable. If he's able to pick up where he left off on the road in a hostile environment in Nebraska and get off to a strong start in Happy Valley, I'm not sure they'll be able to knock him off his game, and this one could be very contentious down to the wire. But in my opinion, if we get through the first quarter, the first half, and we've seen Altmyer take some hits, we see him kind of knocked off his foundation, his platform in the pocket, then this could be a very different scenario that plays out than it did in Lincoln.
Jeremy, I like that you referred to it as a revenge game. Sounds like it's not a revenge against Penn State, but revenge against his own performance against Penn State. So definitely a lot on the line there. Let's switch the conversation now and talk about Drew Aller, who looked great against Kent State last week, as really most people do this season. But Tyler, this may be his toughest test yet with this Illinois defense. So how do you anticipate he handles the pressure?
I think you want to see more of the same from these first 3 weeks. He's been a different quarterback this year. We heard that he would be. Now we're seeing it come to fruition with Andy Kotelnicki as his offensive coordinator. Last year, very pedestrian in average yards per target downfield, 8 yards per target. This year, he's at 12.5 yards per target. That leads the Big Ten. It's about 2 yards more than anybody else. So he is throwing the ball deep with confidence, and he's also moving behind the line of scrimmage with new authority. He lost some weight during the offseason. Athletic traits were really a focus for him to develop those. He picked up 3 first down with his legs week 1 against West Virginia. He scored on the ground last week, and he's somebody who, more than just producing rushing yards, can buy himself some time, can buy some of those speedy playmakers time down the field. So right now, it feels like he is very comfortable, very confident, and I think going into this matchup, you want to see him throw the ball with authority, take some chances against what has been a takeaway happy Illinois defense. Don't let that deter you from staying the course, being a quarterback who wants to drive the ball, bring the pressure to a defense versus someone who last year was passive in a lot of ways, including that road matchup against Illinois where their offense really didn't take off and they had to lean on their defense to get out of Champaign with a win.
Yeah, I think the key for Illinois is Drew didn't have a very good game last year at Illinois, but kind of like Luke Altmaier, he's become a different player, right? He's more comfortable, he's more confident. And the biggest thing is he did not push the ball down the field against Illinois last year, really didn't want to test a defense that was known at that point to be takeaway heavy. Now I think he will. And what Illinois has done really well so far this year is limit explosive plays. Dylan Raiola had some success, a very similar talented quarterback to Drew Aller, future NFL guy. Jalen Daniels, though, was not able to get any kind of explosive plays going against Kansas. So it's an Illinois secondary that is looking to show how much it has improved. Illinois had just 7 interceptions last year. They have 7 interceptions already through 4 games this year. But Drew Aller doesn't put the ball in harm's way, but he is pushing it downfield a lot more. So I do think this is Drew's biggest test so far, but it's also one of Illinois' bigger tests. So they need to find a way to put stress on him in the pocket, try to get some pressure on him so that a veteran secondary that has taken advantage of mistakes can take advantage of any of the few mistakes if Drew Aller makes any of them.
It's not just about the quarterbacks. We play complementary football here, and as we both know, running the football is an important part of both of these teams' games. Let's start with Penn State, though, Tyler. Where can the Nittany Lions get even more out of their ground game?
Well, I think Kaytron Allen has been Mr. Reliable over the course of his career. He's averaging about 5.5 yards per carry. That's where he was as a freshman and a sophomore too. But I think Nick Singleton has more to offer as a junior right now. It's been really impressive to watch him kind of bounce back from what I think a lot of people would call a sophomore slump. He didn't reach more than 80 rushing yards in any of the first 10 games last year. They fired Mike Yurcich as their offensive coordinator. He has a little bit of late season success. He's been on a different level, though, Emily. 9 yards per carry right now on the season. He's going deep. He had 2 40-plus yard runs in the season opener to kind of set the tone. More the same in the last couple of weeks. He's also been a threat as a receiver. It seems each game he's made a play as a pass target. He had a touchdown last week as a pass target. So to me, being able to lean on Nick Singleton as the game-changing sprinter, guy who can swing momentum, swing field position, score from anywhere, he wasn't that guy last year. He wasn't that guy last year at Illinois. He wasn't that guy last year anywhere. And then Kaytron Allen really is the one who can wear you down. Physical, a guy who is just going to pick up 5 yards when he's only supposed to get 2 or 3. And I think he's the guy that if you blend the two of them, Singleton could break your back with a really long touchdown run, but Kaytron could do it by carrying the ball 7 times during a 10 or 11 play drive. So I think the combination of those two, the rushing attack has failed them terribly the last couple times they played Illinois, including that upset loss against Illinois in 2021. In my opinion, for Aller to have his success, they need the balance. And right now, these running backs appear ready to supply it.
And the one thing about this matchup is Kansas, when they had Andy Kotelnicki, who's now the Penn State offense coordinator, they're able to run around Illinois all day. So Illinois is very familiar with this offense and how explosive it can be. Devin Neal was the running back at Kansas. Nick Singleton's definitely the speedy guy they're concerned about. But on the other side of the ball, Illinois had a really encouraging running performance at Nebraska. Had 129 yards rushing, 5 yards per carry after halftime, and really wore down Nebraska. They had struggled to run in their 2 previous games against FBS opponents, had only averaged 3.5 yards per carry. Part of that was because their running backs were dancing a little bit too much, but part of that was because their offensive line just did not execute and wasn't physical enough. But they were the more physical team. Matt Rule said that after Nebraska loss, and that's what they need to be at Penn State. Penn State has an unbelievably quick, twitchy, athletic defensive front, but Illinois does have a lot of size up front. So Illinois was also able to kind of use the pass to set up the run. They kind of had tried to do the opposite early in the season, were a little stubborn with it, but their RPO game kind of softened up the safety, softened up the box, and that gave Caden Fagan, 6'3", 250 pounds, more space to run. Josh McCray, who had a great game 3 years ago in that upset, he's another big burly back, but Aiden Lawfrey and Khalil Valentine, quicker backs, have also gotten some playing time. So the passing attack is good, but maybe that passing attack can set up some run game to kind of control the clock and control the pace a little bit more.
Yeah, it seems like Illinois really cashed in on some offensive linemen in the portal this year. That is paying dividends early on. We always end on this fun question, so let's do it. We simulated this game 20 times on EA College Football 25. You're getting a preview of what it might look like. Penn State, the home team, won it 15 times. So for each team, we'll start with the virtual victors here. What is the biggest key to pulling out a win in the real football game that's going to be played on Saturday? Tyler?
Yeah, we're shaping up to have a heck of an environment in Happy Valley. There's maybe going to be an unofficial whiteout game. It was supposed to be in November, but it's brewing here. So I think feed off the energy of this crowd. Couple home games so far. It's been non-conference matchups against Bowling Green and Kent State. Now you're getting a ranked Big Ten opponent in your building. I think the crowd is going to be fired up, and I think ultimately it's going to be a quick start for Penn State is the key. Don't allow Illinois to pick up where it left off, as I said in Lincoln. Don't give them the indications and the signs that they can stick around and beat you on their home turf. Jump out to that early lead and do your best to put together a statement. I think Penn State has an accelerated opportunity to really put together a statement as building its case for the college football playoff. We didn't think that might come until mid-October with a trip to USC, but considering the way Illinois has played at quarterback, defensively, across the board, I think it's right there for them. And to me, if they can jump on Illinois early, take it to the finish line, this would be a real feather in the cap of James Franklin earlier than we thought.
Yeah, we talked about limiting explosive plays for Illinois. We talked about getting that running game going to balance things out a little bit. I think special teams is an edge for Illinois. But kind of like I said at Nebraska, I think the key is to make this a game going into the fourth quarter because Illinois has loved these pressure-packed environments. In clutch time, they performed against Kansas. They outperformed Nebraska in clutch time. Now you go on the road to Penn State, where Illinois, guys, has nothing to lose. They're going to still be ranked if they lose to Penn State, but they have everything to gain. While Penn State, this is a big year for James Franklin with the college football playoff expanding, with the Big Ten championship game, a little bit more of an open path. I think the pressure would be on Penn State at home with an Illinois team that has a lot of confidence if they're going to the fourth quarter of a close game. So I think that's the key. Get this game to the fourth quarter, make Penn State perform under pressure, because this is an Illinois team that really, really likes being the underdog right now. So they love being 18-point underdogs. If they can keep this game close, I think the pressure might shift to the home team, and you never know what can happen from then, just like at Nebraska.
As a viewer of this game, I hope that is a key, and this is a close game in the fourth quarter because it sounds like the atmosphere is going to be spectacular. An unofficial whiteout game at night. Love it, guys. Thank you so much for the great analysis. You can keep it locked into the Illini Inquirer for all things Illinois football and Lions 24/7 for everything you need to know about Penn State. These writers you just heard from and their entire crews, they have you covered all season long.